Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors,
including real hunting and fishing situations involving wildlife.
We do our best each week to bring you tasteful content.
The viewer discretion is advised.
Now enjoy the show.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Welcome to Outdoors Delmarva, the show that celebrates our communities, our cultures and traditions, and the places we call home. My name is Jason Lee.
And I'm Lauren Hitch.
Lauren, it is Thanksgiving weekend, and I got to tell you, I am loving all the leftovers. The mashed potatoes, the green bean casserole, the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, and of course, all the turkey.
Okay. This episode is not about turkey. It's about deer.
Don't.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. And now, here are Jason Lee and Lauren Hitch.
We are bringing to you the coverage of the Delaware Whitetail Open in this week's show, and part of the special nature of this particular tournament is the closeness that you get by going out on hunts with your fellow hunters.
And speaking of closeness, Jason and I just don't spend near enough time together, so we thought we'd be this close in a deer stand, hanging out the other night.
And you'll be able to see all of that right now.
Kind of fighting against right now is that the amount of cloud cover is keeping the sun from giving us ample light all the way up until the half an hour past sunset. So our window is very limited as far as how long we have before we can have to call it a night. But this one is right on the corn pile, which we're estimating to be about 130, 140 yards away. I've got a good shot at it, but I'm not going to take this shot. The deer has finally moved out of the line of sight for the branches, so I can get a good shot without being ricocheted.
Hey Jason, there's something behind it. There's two deer. Can you see the second one?
That's the buck. If he comes closer, I'm going to get him. I got to take the shot.
This is my first buck.
Okay, go.
All right.
Are you going to cry?
No, I'm not going to cry.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Good for you, kid. Good for you. 3, 4, 5, 8, 9 pointer.
That's good.
Yeah, so first official buck. You got to go hunting with me from now on. And that's all there is to it, because seriously, I wouldn't have seen it. I was so focused on the doe, and you're like, wait, there's something behind it. Lauren, I can't begin to express to you how special that hunt was, not just for me, but also for my father.
That hunt was certainly special, and we went on many more special hunts, which you're going to see when Outdoors Delmarva returns.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
One of the reasons that the Delaware Whitetail Open was established was to get kids outdoors.
And I was honored to be invited to a few youth hunts this year with some very skilled shooters. Opening night of shotgun in Delaware, and you shot a doe. Talk about how nervous you were beforehand.
I was very nervous the whole day before and even the night before, just hoping something came out.
The does were out, you picked the biggest one, you kept your eye on it, you kind of lined your gun up, and then what happened?
Like, it just kept walking, it was just coming right at me, and it was gonna go in the woods, and then luckily it stopped, and Just pull the trigger.
Yeah, and Uncle Jamie made a sound.
Yeah.
Made her turn the correct way, right? And you shot the doe, and it was a bigger doe than you shot last year. How many pounds?
It was 94.
Talk about what it's like raising a little girly that hunts.
It's just really cool to see the excitement and the rush of actually hunting with a child, because like squirrels and foxes and so much of the little stuff that you get to see that we take for granted, and they do not. They get overzealous over everything, you know.
How many doe did we shoot tonight?
2.
2. Have you ever shot 2 deer in one night?
No, I never have.
We did it tonight. Now talk about how long you've been hunting.
I've been hunting for only 2 years.
What happened when you first saw that group of 3 doe come out?
I was getting the shivers because I was so excited because this was going to be my first doe of the year.
Things started off a little early, right? What did we see first?
We saw a few does.
Okay. A lot of them.
Yeah.
They were coming out. We were sizing them up, right? Pretty quickly, we were sizing them up. There were some little ones, little babies, and then we saw a couple big ones, right?
Yep.
And you were deciding which one you wanted.
Yeah.
It was pick of the litter.
Got on the gun, went to go shoot, went right over top.
But what I like most, Owen, tonight is that you didn't get bummed out. And Dad didn't get upset with you, which was great. We shook it off, right?
That's the biggest thing when it comes to taking these kids at this early, young of an age. They can be emotional, and a long ride's high. You really got to work with them on, calming themselves down and making sure they make a good shot. And, there's going to be things that happen, and we regrouped and we got on one, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
We don't give up.
The youth in this competition were so successful. I think maybe the adults should have taken some notes.
We're going to wrap up our coverage of the 2024 Delaware Whitetail Open a little later on in the show, but up next, we head back out with Scorchy Taws when Outdoors Delmarva returns.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Lauren, you remember last week we did our match game and we differed on pies. You went with pumpkin, I went with pecan.
Right?
Well, that's because I absolutely love pecan pie.
Oh, then you're going to love this week's Remembering Scorchy Taws.
Yes, and someone could say that I'm nuts over pecans.
Honoring the life and legacy of Scorchy Taws, thanks to Shorts Marine in Long Neck, Delaware. Shorts Marine, everything but the water.
Whoever said it first was right. You learn something new every day. I've lived on Delmarva all my life and just found out that I live in the most ideal pecan climate in the state of Maryland. Who says so? None other than Iliff Miller, the foremost pecan authority I've ever had the pleasure of meeting.
I worked for the Department of Agriculture as a liaison officer in the Alabama A&M University. We lived on a street called Pecan Grove Drive, and we had Stewart pecans growing all around our house. When I came back to the Department of Agriculture in Washington, I wanted to find a place within reach of Washington on a weekend where I could have a grove of pecans of my own.
And why, we wondered, did he ever choose Crisfield?
I wanted to find a place in Maryland, if possible, that had a long growing season, and I found that Crisfield had the longest growing season in the state of Maryland. It has 225 days. I planted 4 trees in '74, and then I got 6 more in '76, and then I started grafting, and I've grafted the others. I have 30 trees now.
So there's a pecan grove on Delmarva. Well, you could have knocked me over with an olive branch. I feel like Rip Van Winkle, who just woke up from a 20-year nap, given the fact that Iliff Miller, the affable Norseman from Minnesota, has lived a scant mile from me for 20 years, and I never even knew he was on Earth. He may have shook a lot of pecan trees, but he sure hasn't rattled many chains.
I'm not in it for personal gain because it's a thing that takes too long for me to get any gain out of it. I would like to have other people get interested in pecan growing. I'm a kind of a promoter. And I'm doing this as an example of what you can do with a good variety of pecan if you have the right climate and the right soil.
And Crisfield has both. So saith Iliff Miller, purveyor of pecan gospel. A man who says it's quite possible that someday the crab capital might also become a pecan paradise. Scorchy Taws, wandering our Delmarvelous land for WBOC News.
Remembering Scorchy Taws is sponsored by Shorts Marine. Online at shortsmarine.com.
Did you know that turkeys can run up to 25 miles per hour and fly in short bursts up to 55 miles per hour?
Did you know that in the early part of the 20th century, there were only around 200,000 wild turkeys in the U.S.? Did you know that there are nearly 7 million now?
And did you know that turkeys can swim? They do this by tucking their wings, spreading their tails, and kicking.
Now you do.
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina.
We're going to flip through the photo album right now and take a look at your latest pictures.
Thanks to our friends at North Bay Marina.
Michael Whitaker of Seaford had a great final day of the first half split of Delaware duck season with teals, bluebills, and ringnecks.
Sky Story went on her last youth hunt before turning 16 and made the most of it with this big buck that her little brother absolutely approves of.
Wayne Shelton went down to Crisfield and may have reeled in the most photogenic rockfish we've ever seen.
And Justin Webb of Greenwood captured this amazing shot of the Northern Lights at Cape Henlopen State Park.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by North Bay Marina.
The Longhorn Butcher and Taxidermy Mount of the Week is this 8-pointer harvested by Evan Kolb in Wicomico County.
For all your butcher and taxidermy needs, call Spencer at 410-422-3942. Stop by the shop on Morris Road in Pittsville or check out Longhorn Butcher on Facebook.
Outdoors Delmarva will be right back. You're watching Outdoors Delmarva presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
This has been such a big year with record numbers for the Delaware Whitetail Open competition.
And with this being the awards night where all the money is being given out, I'm going to see if I get my share of it.
Kyle, this has been such an exciting event this year. Talk about how much it's grown from even just last year.
Well, in the 3 years that I've been running it, we have officially doubled numbers. It was about 112 people my first year. Last year we grew to 190. And then this year we're sitting at 235 contestants.
40 of them are youth.
42.
Talk about that.
So obviously I do this because my dad got me in the woods at a young age, Cody and I both. So getting the youth outdoors in any capacity is a huge deal to us. To be honest with you, that's why everybody comes tonight, just to see what the youth get. I think the standings for that are more important than anything else. You can tell right away who kills the deer when they get out of the truck, and their smile is as big as anything, and they're still shaking from being in the deer stand, and the excitement's there. It's really cool. We have 6 competitions. There's the buck weight, buck points. There's a team competition. There's a youth doe. There's a youth buck, and then the main one is our weekly doe competition, which pays out over $10,000 this year just in one competition. Each day we give away $550, $500 to the top 5 does of the week, or of the day, sorry, and then $50 we spin a wheel. We rank the deer by weight, or the does by weight, and whatever lucky number that lands on, you could be in 19th place and still take home $50, which is your entry fee back. This year we're going to pay out over $30,000 in cash, and then prizes on top of that. So it's a big year.
Yeah, and you guys bought a deer stand that you're going to be giving away as well.
Yeah, it's important to us to make sure that nobody thinks that the money goes to anybody here. I've been asked if this is a benefit for anybody, for my dad, for anything. That's not what it is. It's just a big backyard redneck tournament that we just so happen to have a lot of people in. So we want to make sure that all the money was going back to the community and the people. So we ended up buying a deer stand using the money that we have in the entry fees, and we're going to give that away. Everybody who entered got their name in for free, and then you're able to buy raffle tickets, and we're going to use that money and donate the money from the raffles to deserving organizations they don't know about yet. signups are the 3 days before the competition. It's always at the Gumboro Service Center. We will be here in person. We do payouts in cash, so that's why we do signups in person to make it easier. Hopefully we'll see you 3 days before the shotgun season starts next year and ready to sign up.
Talk about the camaraderie here at the scales each night.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to just bring a deer in to be here. Usually this place is packed every night, no matter if it's a Friday night or a Wednesday night. I joke a lot because I won't see these people again for 350 plus days, but I swear I feel like I see them all the time just because we spend so much time together this week. It's so cool to catch up and see them and just to hear about life from all of them. We have all grown up together in this competition because of Dad, and here we are 20 plus years later still doing it.
And an event like this wouldn't be possible without the help of many people, including Kyle, Cody, Taylor, Brandy and Gary Givens, Chris Bishop, and the Davis family.
And if you want to join in on the fun for next year's Delaware Whitetail Open, make sure that you join the group on Facebook. We're going to take a look at the Tangier Classic when Outdoors Delmarva returns.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
We are giving thanks this year to everyone who gets out there and enjoys all the great outdoor activities.
And we want to give a special thank you to all of those who participated in this year's Tangier Classic.
Here at the American Legion in Crisfield, the home of the Tangier Classic. Adam with me, and the weather, it's kind of sketchy right now.
It's just weather though.
It's just weather, but if you're gonna get out there and fish, this is actually kind of ideal.
So not too bad, cloud cover, right?
Yeah.
We do have the wind coming out of the southeast at this point, so there's plenty of places in the bay you can still fish. You know, obviously our kayak angler is gonna be able to get up in some guts, and really it's not gonna be an impact.
And let's talk about impact, because this tournament really does impact the entire community, not just anglers, not just people who like watching people fish, but this is a whole community effort.
For certain, man. And you know, 6 years we've been doing this, and you guys are obviously a big supporter of ours and all of our sponsors. And it really is just, it shows how wonderful the community is here on Delmarva that comes together around the common cause. You know, obviously we've talked about it before many times, what we do with our mission to not only bring a great down-home Chesapeake-based style fishing tournament, but do it with a good cause, right? We got young Hunter West, Julian, his family, and I mean, it's just a great thing we do, and we're so happy to have people join us.
And this really is a low-pressure tournament.
Totally, man. I mean, you can take it as serious as you want and really compete hard, and there's a lot of guys that fish our tournament that are die hard. I mean, they're losing sleep the entire weekend, making sure they're putting in that effort. Then there's other folks that are just having a good time, and they take it easy, and you know what? Some of them end up winning too.
This is your first year as the title sponsor, and what has that meant for not just you as the owner of the company, but also your employees to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing that's part of the company?
I shut the whole company down today. You know, we've come out and helped set up. I want to be more involved in our community because it's not a child's fault that anything has to happen to them. You know, when the community comes together to give back, that only uplifts them and their spirits. So to me and my family, it means the world to us because we think a lot of our community.
It really is a labor of love, and that love is being shown not just to the family of, you know, each year's recipient,
right,
but also to the community, saying, hey, look, there are organizations like the Tangier Classic and across Delmarva that are saying, we are here for you.
Yeah.
We are going to reach out to you, and we're going to make sure that you are living your best life while we're trying to live ours.
True, man. And I'll tell you something that really hits me in the heart every year. No matter what the economy's doing, right? We always look at that every year. We're like, all right, what's it going to look like this year with the economy, inflation, the year we had to deal with COVID, all those things. It never has ever put a damper on our program. We've always had folks come in and say, don't matter, I'm supporting you. And we couldn't do it without them.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And thank you so much for sending in those wonderful viewer photos. If you'd like to submit your own photo, you can go to outdoorsdelmarva.com and click the banner at the top of the page, or scan the QR code in the bottom corner of your screen. And I'm so thankful for this turkey right here.
Gobble, gobble. We hope to see you right back here again next week. But until then, my name is Jason Lee.
And I'm Lauren Hitch, and we hope to see you
Outdoors Delmarva.
Outdoors Delmarva, a Draper Media production, is presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Shorts Marine, Bell Creek Equipment, and Range Time.